Hey there and welcome back to my craft room. My name's Julianne Richards and I'm an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator in southern Tasmania. I'm just going to check my volume. Apologies for this, I am actually wearing my lapel mic and sometimes it's a little bit unreliable. Just check that. Right, that sounds alright. Hopefully it'll be alright. I might move it to there. Apologies. Let's see how that goes. Okay, so as I mentioned in my video last week, we're actually introducing a new kitten to the house. So everyone's sort of walking around and being very, very quiet and not moving too quickly to try and make it as easy as possible for the little guy to settle in. So bear with me today. Hopefully you can just watch my hands and get what you need to get from that. So anyway, today is card number 3 in my 15-minute card challenge that I've set for myself. The last couple we've used a lot of ink and stamping, different sort of quick ink techniques. Today I thought it would be nice to have a look at some designer series paper. There's nothing better than a nice designer series paper where you can just pop it on some cardstock and all the work is done for you. So that's what I'm actually going to do today. This is a new little design that I picked up recently. I think it's really, really nice with the different sort of designs of the cardstock and the way they sort of crisscross each other there, and the really striking black sentiment on the middle there. So this one actually has been heat embossed, so I'm hoping that the heat embossing won't push my card up to over the 15 minutes, but I think it's probably worth it given the strike, the wow factor that it gives our quite simple little card. It's also got some of these little gems, and they're from the Elegant Faceted Gems pack as well, so they make it that little bit more special as well. So it's a lovely combination. It's basic black cardstock with some petal pink, and the designer series paper, this one's from the True Love pack, which is in the current January to June mini catalogue. You'll know it better probably by the beautiful flowers. It has black and white flowers on one side, but the other side has some really nice geometric sort of shapes there that you can use to highlight. And this one here, which is one of my favourites, is the one from the designer series paper from the Peony Garden suite. So you've probably seen that one before, at least on my channel you have. Okay, so it's a good little card for using scraps of your designer series paper. You don't use a lot of them, but they do actually have quite a good effect. So let's see if we can get this one crafted from start to finish in less than 15 minutes. Okay, so I'm going to set the timer. I keep forgetting which one the minute one is. That one, I think. Ooh. Okay, so we've got 15 minutes on the clock there. So we'll start it off. Not forget like last time when I forgot to start it off. So let's start that off and get ready. Okay, so we've got a basic black card base, and I'll do all the cutting straight up as long as I can remember, because I didn't actually write these down, these measurements. I thought that would sort of be cheating. So we've got a basic black card base. I've moved all my things around here, and my normal card base size is 5 3/4 and scored at 4 1/8. This is normal A4 size paper. Okay, so we've got our card base there. What we then need is a piece of petal pink cardstock, and I'll cut this all while I'm here, and that is 1/8 of an inch smaller, so that's going to be 4 inches by 5 5/8. I'm actually going to cut 2 of those because I'll need one for the middle of the card as well. So I am layering up the inside in the same theme. Okay, so then we also need another piece of black cardstock, and this one's going to be cut to it's a full inch short, smaller than the card base. So it's going to be, instead of 5 3/4, it's going to be 4 3/4. And instead of 4 1/8, it's going to be a 3 1/8. And that's our little central panel there, you can see, sits in the middle just like that. And then we want to cut our cardstock, and so together the two cardstock, designer series paper. Together the designer series paper is going to be, I'll show you, that length there is 3 inches. So each piece of the cardstock, the designer series paper, has to be 1.5 inches wide. So we want 1.5 inches wide on both pieces. And it's going to be, so what that was, 4 3/4, so it's going to be 4 5/8 long. And the same with the other one. So 1.5 wide and 4 5/8 long. So there's our 2 pieces of cardstock, designer series paper. What I'm going to then do is cut 1.5 inches off the end of each of them, and that's the bits that I'm going to swap over at the top. So you can see there we've got our black and white and our petal pink, and then our black and white and our petal pink. That's the sort of pattern we're going for. And a piece of whisper white for the inside I need, and just for the inside panel, and that's going to be so we've got 5.5 by 3 7/8. Okay, so we'll see how successful I've been in remembering all those measurements, and when it comes to popping this card together. Keep moving that when I move my thing. I'll just check that I'm back in the middle of the screen. Yep, looks like I am. Okay, cool. It's a bit sort of, must have got wet, this piece of grid paper, because it's a bit curly. Anyway, so let's start popping this one together. How are we going for time? We've used 4 minutes, so that wasn't too bad. Okay, so what we might do first of all is just confirm that I've got those measurements of the designer series paper right, and we can actually pop those onto the black. So just on the back of this one, because we want that lovely check colour, check pattern at the front. And there we go, just 1/8 of an inch. Got to take glasses off so I can see. 1/8 of an inch there, side and bottom. We'll bring in our pink. And we're going to pop that one in as well. And they look pretty good. They've got a little gap between them, but that's okay. It looks like it was meant to be there. Okay, so that's fine. And then we'll alternate them at the top so that the pink is above the black and white. Because we've cut these at 5.5 inches square, oh no, it's not 1.5 inches square, they should line up pretty much perfectly with the paper below them, hopefully. This one. And there. So that's pretty good. And thankfully our glue lets us have a little bit of a fiddle, just if we're not quite right. And that looks pretty good. Okay, so there we are. We have our little checkered pattern of designer series paper there. And remember, we're going to have our sentiment across the middle there, so that's going to cover up any slight mismatches that you may have introduced with your cutting there. So that's good. So really that's the hardest part of this little card. What again we will do is pop the I don't think that's Petal Pink. No, it's not. Oh, I've actually bought Blushing Bride out. Oh dear, so there goes the time there. Anyway, I should get Petal Pink out, because otherwise it's going to be not very nice. It's not going to match. So bear with me, I'm going to grab a piece of Petal Pink instead. Yes, you can see that that's very different to the colour that I've got. They're next to each other in my craft cupboard, and I sort of got them mixed up. So thankfully it's a fairly easy one. This is basically for 5 5/8 twice. Probably wouldn't have known. You probably couldn't have actually seen it too much from the tape, but it does look very, very different here. I'll pop my mic back on so you can hear me. There we are. Okay, so now we can pop our card together. So I'm going to grab just the glue, the first panel of Petal Pink, which is actually Petal Pink, onto our black. Then our lovely little designer series paper panel, just straight in the middle of that. There we are. And then I might do the middle as well, since we've got everything here and we're gluing. First of all, the Petal Pink on the inside, and then our white. Okay, so that's really good. So now we're going to do our sentiment. On the original one I have done congratulations, but you could choose any sentiment that you like. As I say, these cards are for that spontaneous, quick card that we all need from now and then. So maybe it's I think those colours would make a nice sympathy card even, that sort of thing. But I will do the congratulations again, just because I have the stamp set here. And the stamp set I use for a lot of my sentiments when I haven't got a specific one is the Peaceful Moments. Seems to be this one has just about anything you could possibly want. So, oh, there goes my cup of coffee. So there we are. How are we going for time? 5 minutes to go. We should be fine. Okay, so I'm going to, as I say, I'm going to set a set. I'm going to heat emboss this, which might push our time out a little bit. But I'm sure you'll forgive me, given the fact that I started working with the wrong coloured cardstock, which is the joy of live crafting, isn't it? So I'm going to pop that just in the middle, straight as I can, so I don't have to trim it too much. Here we are. Bring in my white embossing powder, hoping that it is white and I haven't grabbed the wrong one. Yes, it is. Pop that straight on there. Bit of a flick. Get off the gun, so just forgive the noise for a moment, which I've unplugged. Oh gosh. Everything's against me to getting this done in 5 minutes, isn't it? I just have to replug my heat gun in. Okay. Get rid of the various cords and things. We'll just emboss this. we've got 3 minutes to go. We should be right. Burning. Okay, that's changing nicely now. Now I'm just going to trim this one down. So I'm going to trim it down to about 3.5 inches long and hopefully about 1/2 inch wide. So we've got 3.25 maybe, and 1/2 inch wide. That's the sort of size I want. Here we are, that'll do. There we are, so that's our little sentiment box. I'm going to grab some dimensionals. How are we going? 2 minutes. I'll put this one just, as I say, just over that little central gap there. Just lined it up with the edges. It just goes over the edges a tiny bit. There we are. Then we're going to grab our gems from our Elegant Faceted Gems. I'm going to pop just 3 along the bottom left hand edge, and straight if I can. Here we are. And 3 at the top. And 43 seconds to go. This one's down to the wire. There we are. And it's done. It's done. Wow, that was cutting it fine. 26 seconds to go. So I suppose I can be forgiven since I cut the wrong colour of cardstock and had to plug in my heat embossing machine. So they're my own problems there with being disorganised. So I'll stop that with 11 seconds to go. So you can definitely say that this was a 15-minute card, even with the couple of hitches along the way. So there we are. Thank you for joining me. That was card number 3. As mentioned, all the measurements, you probably picked them up from the video. The sentiment that we've used is the Peaceful Moments, and the paper is from the Peony Garden and from the True Love sets in the 2 of our current catalogues. So hopefully you enjoyed that. Give that one a bit of a go. I think you could swap in and out with the paper. You could swap in and out the colours of the cardstock, and you know, make that one basically any situation you actually like. Lovely for a wedding the way it is, I think, or an engagement, but also sort of soften that out a bit, and you could use it for a sympathy or a birthday, whatever you want. Okay, so thanks very much. I've got a little bit out of centre there with my trimmer and stuff, but hopefully you can just screw your eyes up a bit and I look straight. But thanks again. That was number 3 in my 15-minute card series. Catch up with me again next week, and in between look for my longer technique videos, usually over the weekend. So thanks for joining me, and I'll catch you all next time.